Geekcast Rewind. Back to Megacon Live.
This is Kevin, we're at Megacon. I'm joined by Thomas. How's it going, mate?
Very well, mate, thank you.
Awesome. Obviously you've come dressed as an icon of the 90s. I've met...
hair up my
I had the pleasure of interviewing Mark Silk last year. The man's a legend. His portrayal of Johnny Bravo make you just want to go, you know what, I need to do this?
Yeah, well the thing is, I met him at WalesCon dressed as this.
What was his reaction?
He loved it because he said it was like his character had just come to life.
When I met him when I was interviewing him, he was doing, obviously he did the voice straight away.
Yeah.
I got about
much of an interview.
Exactly, it wasn't really much of an interview because I just couldn't stop laughing because he was
just insulting you.
He was insulting me as Johnny Bravo, and it was just it wasn't insulting. It was just like he was obviously taking liberties, should we say? It was in good fun, and it was funny. It was really funny. But what made you want to do Johnny Bravo though? In all seriousness,
It is the comfiest costume I own. It's a pair of jeans, t-shirt, and a wig and sunglasses, and the fact I'm built like him as well.
which is fair enough, isn't it? Obviously, you're back, and you obviously wrestle, don't you?
Yeah.
How did you actually get into that?
I actually just there's a local school by me that teaches I didn't know, and one of the adverts just came up one day, and I went, I'll go down and try that, and then. Well, that was 15 years ago.
Snowballed from there.
Yeah, 15 years ago I've toured the country several times doing it.
Sorry, Rob, can I take a picture?
We're just doing an interview, but no, worries, won't be able to. Sorry, won't be a second.
It's all good. The perils of live recording, I suppose.
You know.
But yeah, when you obviously were younger, you're now professional wrestler.
Yeah.
When you were younger, did you have like a particular wrestler who you were like, I would love to have been able to be in the ring with that person or even just learn from them?
I think it was more like people like the Undertaker, because obviously it was such a big man who was very agile as well.
Yeah.
And then it's the whole showmanship of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Was just amazing to me as a kid, and then to get to do it as an adult as part of my job is. It's such an amazing feeling.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to start. You walk out. What's been your favourite reaction when you've walked out through the curtain, sort of thing? When you've kind of like.
So I used to do a Kiss style gimmick where I used to come out like the Rock God. I was covered in Kiss makeup, full armour, and I was wrestling on a campsite by me, and there was about 5,000 people in for the show. I came out and shot fire out my hands, and the whole gasp you could hear from the whole audience in one go was the best feeling I've ever had.
That sounds pretty sick, to be fair. I mean, like when I grew up, obviously there's probably the same sort of era as yourself. I was very much into. My favourite growing up was Bret Hart.
Yeah.
I just loved Bret Hart. I was like, as far as I was concerned, he was my number one. Do you have obviously a lot of people have got their top 5 or top 3 or top like 3, a couple of wrestlers. Like, who do you think has been like the most who you see now? Who you think you can see has clearly been influenced by someone that you watched growing up?
Do you know what, it's really hard to say, but it's looking at a lot of the very technical wrestlers, because they use a lot of the British style of wrestling. Some of the lads who taught me were the old Whittle Sport lads who did that style of wrestling, so it was amazing to see that go into the American style now.
Yeah,
it's stuff like we look at William Regal, for example. The lad who taught me was one of the people who taught him.
Wow, that's pretty cool, to be fair, isn't it?
So I've seen videos where it's been him when he first started when he was 17 years old.
That's mad.
His first shows, it's very strange to see.
Interesting one for you. If you could poach 2 wrestlers from any generation and put them in a ring and get a 5-star match out of them, you know for a fact you'll get a 5-star match, who would you choose?
It would probably be Santino from WWE and Les Kellett from Britain. 2 comedy wrestlers going out together to try and out-comedy each other would be brilliant.
Oh, it would be, wouldn't it? I mean, I've witnessed Santino in person. He had that match with, I think it was Chavo Guerrero, and he came out, it was when he very first started doing the Cobra gimmick, and he explained it all. He was like, it was MMA and Morella martial arts. Obviously, it was the birth of actual MMA at the same time, so it was clearly like he was obviously taking that and taking the piss at the same time. And then there was a point in the match where obviously Chavo was going up for the the frog splash.
Yeah.
And he'd have him in the position he'd get right the way up to almost to the top ropes, and he'd roll to the other side of the ring. And so Chavo would get down, he'd run to the other side, go up, and he'd just roll back again. And it went on for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But the whole 5 minutes I was pissing myself, even though when you look back and think, that's so stupid, but it was so good at the same time, and that's what I thought Santino was so good at.
Yeah.
And I don't know about yourself, but I love watching his promo work as well.
It's the showmanship side and making it a show where you see, I've done it with lads where we've done what's called the crisscross. Well, they're on one side of the ring, I'll run the opposite side, and we'll cross each other. And then the hero will hook in and just not run and just stamp his feet while the villain keeps running back and forth and tires himself out.
Oh, that's best. It's a lot of things lost on a lot of people who are getting into wrestling now. They don't see that sort of side of things, and how much that showmanship sort of thing, that little bit of it just adds to the whole experience, and people don't realise that you get a lot of sort of almost copy and paste style wrestlers. Unfortunately, it's not unfortunate as such. This is great for us because we get to watch a lot of quality wrestling on TV now. Obviously with the birth of AEW the last couple of years as well. Even Impact's making a bit of a comeback over the last year or so. Obviously they're just announced they're doing well, they've not done a UK tour since it was TNA.
That's it.
And I mean, it's for us as the consumer, and the fact that we love wrestling, it's one time to be alive, isn't it? Basically.
God, it's the thing as well. It's like I don't think people who get into wrestling don't realise how much you can get away with. Like I was booked a while ago to do a 15-minute match, and 13 minutes was me walking around the ring annoying the audience. Like, the hero would get out one side, I get in the other side, and then just keep doing that for a little while. Then go around, shout at the audience, get back in, I'm not getting in, get out.
That's boss.
Took one move and I went back up.
It's like, get in, get out, get paid. Well, it's what's great about professional wrestling. It's just it's not. When people just say, people just doing flippy floppy shit and all that stuff. Like, I mean, it's like it's an art. It's not so much an art form as it is. Like, it's not just the moves.
No,
it's the acting. It's everything.
It's really stupid, but there's a lot of psychology that goes into it.
Yeah.
To try and take someone on an emotional journey through a 15 minutes.
I mean, that's why I love likes of Bret Hart, because he could. You saw him get hurt.
Yeah.
You genuinely believed he was hurt.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean, some of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I mean, like, if you were to, I think right now, like, if you had to name 3 wrestlers off the top of your head, you kind of like, if it wasn't for these 3 people, wrestling wouldn't be what it is now.
I think you'd have to go back to like the 80s and stuff like that, and the early 70s, where you had like Johnny Saint, Big Daddy, and Giant Haystacks. You go back to them, everybody, they were all household names, and they had to do nothing but could get away with doing so much with doing so little. Now, the way I had it described to me when I first started is, somebody said it's gone from a sport where people were not getting hurt and people thought we were, to a sport where people are getting hurt and people think that they're not.
Yeah, it's crazy when you actually think about it, innit?
That's it,
Well, no, it's been absolutely good. So obviously we've both had our health struggles over the last 12 months. It's absolutely great to see it out and about.
You too, mate.
How are you getting on at the moment?
Perfect, mate. After that operation, I've lost 40 pound in body weight.
I know you look fucking great, mate.
Thank you. And back up and about.
That's why I brought up the wrestling, because I mean, obviously I knew you stepped away for a long time, didn't you?
6 years.
Yeah. And obviously you're back to it. Have you got any appearances coming up, or?
I have got a few shows coming up. I'm not doing as much this year, just because I'm still finding my feet with it a little bit. Yeah. And I've started a new gimmick, so it's like I need to try to work that.
It's as much getting the ring rust out and getting everything else out as well.
That's it. It's like I did my first match, and 4 days later I was like, oh, why did I do this?
I can only imagine. I mean, I've only got to look at a set of stairs and I start crying.
I witnessed it yesterday.
I threw a paddy on in bloody Arndale yesterday because I pressed the wrong button on the lift and we had to get back in and go up again. But now, As in terms of cosplay though, I've asked this question to a couple of people, if money was no object, there was no budget involved, and timescale, you could literally snap your fingers and what your dream cosplay would be right in front of you right now, what would you choose?
To be honest, I really like the Viking look Thor from the comics. I would love to do that costume, but money.
Exactly, it's money, isn't it? It's obviously we're in a cost of living crisis right now. I mean, it's what I've enjoyed about like Megacon as a concept. Where you see a lot of conventions right now, and they're charging upwards of 60, 70 quid for the weekend.
That's it.
And Megacon's come along, it's like what, 34, so that's a fraction of that. And I've not heard a single negative since I've been here today.
No. I think last year was the first one they did, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the first one in Manchester. I know they did. I think they did Birmingham first, didn't they?
There was a few problems with like finding the feet and stuff, but if you're going to do that anyway, aren't you?
Exactly.
So,
if you're going to have that to begin with, but at the same time, it's been
for first con they'd run. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed today. What I do like about this convention is the space.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conventions you go to and you feel like you feel like you're a consumer who's been put on a conveyor belt and just gone buy shit.
That's it. Yeah. You're literally just fed everything that's been.
Yeah. It's not Pop Final Con as well. Like I'm sick. I've been to events where I've gone a whole lane of like 60, 70 metres with at least 20 stores on either side, and there's been one, maybe two stores that weren't completely Pop Vinyl.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. There's a lot of independent sales.
Now you mention it, I am probably seeing one.
I think there's only one I've seen that's over there.
Yeah.
I got distracted by D&D stuff and Lego, so
that's the other thing as well. There's a lot of you see a lot of cons that don't really embrace like that's like the game like that. Also, so you get a lot of like the gaming zone where it's like like Xbox and whatever. You don't see a lot of cons embracing the like D&D, even the Yu-Gi-Oh and the other card games and stuff like that. You don't really see that at many other cons anymore.
No.
I think that's something that's been lost on a lot of events. They kind of.
I think that's one of the things that needs, especially as well, because there's so many little independent vendors now doing. 3D printing is a big thing, as I'm sure you know. And it's
I've got a couple. I've got two printers now myself.
That's it. It's like because you can make anything. There's so much you can create and sell on.
Exactly. I mean, like I've got two 3D printers. I just can't afford the lecky to run them. or find the space for them.
I would say get a generator, but diesel's no better.
It's just like, you know what, like it's like one thing about living in the UK. You see people in the States and whatever, and they complain about they have to pay insurance on everything.
Yeah.
We pay tax on everything. Like literally, you leave the house, you get on you put your key in the heavily taxed house. You walk across your heavily taxed council estate wherever you live.
That's it.
You're getting your heavily taxed car. You go to the petrol station, put your taxed fuel in it. Then you go to your job where you get taxed for what you earn. It's like Vince McMahon said. You're born, you pay taxes, and then you die.
Yeah.
Well, now it's what I mean. This weekend, I mean, obviously, I think you're only here for the day, aren't you?
I'm here tomorrow, but I'm driving back in both days.
So. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Are you cosplaying tomorrow?
Yeah, I haven't decided. I might do Johnny Bravo again. It's either that or Rick and Morty.
Oh, Rick and Morty, yeah. And obviously, you were cosplaying as when we first interviewed each other. Well, interviewed each other. It was when Biggie walked over and just like, hey, what was it? I can't remember what the exact phrase was that she said. She walked over, like, son of motherfuckers or something like that. Where I'm like, in the middle of doing, obviously, it was a radio brand interview that one. So it was, what's up, motherfuckers? Just in the middle of the interview, I just remember, we had to stop for about 5 minutes while we just like recomposed. I just remember how good she looked, so like almost like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. But now, I mean, Comic-Con, innit?
Yeah,
it's brilliant. I love it. I love it. We all love it.
That's it.
But it's been great talking to you. I know for a fact that we will talk again.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Lovely to see you.
Yeah. I'll see you soon, mate.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's great.
So my name's Dan. I'm here at Megacon. I'm joined by Ellie, Darcey-Alden. Is that pronounced right? Okay. First time at Megacon for you, or?
Yes, this is the first time at Megacon for me, yeah.
How have you found it, like getting to interact with a lot of your fans and stuff? Well known for Doctor Who, of course, and Harry Potter. What's it like for you to?
Yeah,
chat to everyone.
Really lovely. Do you know what? Like, I've never been up to Manchester before, so I'm surrounded by like a whole new group of people that I haven't been around, and everyone's been so lovely and welcoming and warm, and it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been great.
Yeah, I follow you on Instagram. I didn't realise, but you used to be a competitive dancer.
I did. Yeah. I was a competitive dancer. Yeah.
So how did you get into that?
Do you know, I've been dancing since I was quite young. So I danced when I was living in the UK, and then when I moved out to the US, I joined a dance team, and then it was throughout my teens. I don't know, I've always sort of done it. It's a good form of exercise, a good form of like creative, like a good creative outlet as well for me. So it's always sort of been a part of my life.
How did you get into acting from there then? What was your first steps like? Because that's a completely different field.
So I was a bit of a dramatic kid, and because of that, my parents put me in like a theatre program. They put me in Stagecoach, and so I did that, and then I forged my parents' signature to get an audition for a theatre show.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah. You know, I really wanted to do it, so I was like, okay, I'll do this. And then from there, you know, like the director put me in touch with a few agents, and then sort of spiraled from there, really. I always knew I wanted to do it. I wanted to be on the TV. I wanted to be an actor. I had like a big imagination.
What was that moment when was you watching something when you was like, I want to do this?
Do you know, I don't remember if there was a moment. It's always just sort of been ingrained into me. Like, I always put on shows as a kid. I always made up characters. I always, you know, I wanted to tell stories, and so like naturally it followed me down the acting path. And then, you know, watching TV and movies when I grew up, I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be on the TV. I want to make movies and things like that. So it was always something I wanted to do since before I could remember, really.
So getting the call to be on like Harry Potter, that must have been pretty cool.
Mega.
Yeah. Do you remember that phone call?
Yeah, well, so my mum got the phone call when she was in Sainsbury's, and then she told me after I came home from school, and I lost it. You know, like I was happy, I cried happy tears, screamed a bit.
Was you not allowed to tell anyone? Like,
no, I wasn't allowed to tell anyone. So I told my immediate family, and then I had to tell two of my teachers at school because I had to take so much time off for filming. So one of my teachers knew, and then the headmaster knew. But other than that, nobody knew. I didn't tell my best friend until the day before the premiere that it was going on. So yeah, it was quite a challenge.
That must be so tough, like in that industry, to keep that secret, and then people are like, hang on, what?
Yeah, it was because you know you're doing something that, for me at least, like getting to play the character that I played, and just being on a set that was like so wonderful. It was really hard to not, but I think you also preserve that experience. So I preserved the experience and I had it for myself, and then I got to tell everyone after the fact, which was like quite nice to relive it, I guess. But it's always a challenge, you know, especially when you love something. When I love something as much as I do, I want to tell people the work that I get to do, but sometimes that doesn't always allow for it.
And obviously, mentioned it before, you were in Doctor Who, so two massive British, you know, franchises. How did then both like Harry Potter and Doctor Who compare as productions to work on?
I mean, it's a little bit different. So, like one being film, one being TV, the set functions a little bit differently. TV works at a slightly quicker pace than film does, so we got to take our time a little bit more on the film versus the TV show. And so, I mean, on Doctor Who, I worked with my brother, which I have very rarely done. Yeah, I worked with my young brother, and so we got along quite well. I mean, we bickered a bit, but that was really lovely to work with him because I've only done that twice, so that was a very different experience. But I mean, every project is vastly different, but it just comes down to the people, and I've only ever had positive experiences. So.
And so, what's next for you? Anything you're allowed to say that you're working on right now?
I just launched my production company. It's called Blue Paradigm Entertainment. I launched that at the beginning of the year. We have a few projects in the works, but due to the SAG strike, as you may have noticed, I haven't actually said those words because you know we're striking at the minute, and it's really important that we that we stick to the negotiations that we need and things like that. So once we have what we need and we're no longer on strike, then I'll be able to tell everyone all about the projects and things like that. So I'm making sure I'm not crossing any picket lines.
I look forward to hearing that. And one last question is, obviously you've been in the industry for so long already.
Yeah.
You know, being through childhood working. What was the best bit of advice you've been given by someone that's stuck with you?
Oh gosh, that's really hard. So when I worked on my first project called Test the D'Urbervilles, and I had an audition the next day after we were filming for Robin Hood that I ended up doing, and I really, really didn't want to go to the audition because I Test the Devils was over, and I'd filmed it for like a month, and I was devastated. Like I just didn't want to go because I was like, I don't want to have an experience like that and then have it be over again. And one of the actresses, I don't remember exactly what she said, but she was like, the beauty of what we get to do is like fall in love with people and characters and crews for a really short amount of time over and over and over again to build stories that people get to watch forever. And so that's sort of the experience that I have. On set I sort of get to relive, and everyone else gets to relive when they watch it over and over again, and that's why it's such a beautiful thing to do it. And after having that conversation with her, I went and I did the audition and I got the part, and it just sort of like spiraled from there. So I think at the end of every project I'm always a crying mess. Like I always get so sad that it's over, and it's such a bittersweet, but it just motivates you to.
Well, then every production, I'm assuming it becomes a bit like a close-knit family.
Well, yeah, because you're spending like sometimes 14 hours of your day with these people, and if it's a night shoot, everyone's tired. You see the best parts of people, sometimes the worst parts of people, and you're spending so much time together that it really does become quite close-knit. And like they're the people that you have on set. They're your friends. They're your confidants, and then it's all over. And oftentimes you don't get to work with the same. It's very rare you get to work with the same group of people again. So you do become a really close-knit family for a short period of time, and it's just sort of sad when it's all over.
You're probably going to hate this last question, and I promise it'll be last. But who's your favourite person you've worked with, like co-worker?
Oh gosh, that is really hard because everyone's absolutely lovely. I would say I got to work with Maggie Smith, and she was absolutely fantastic and so lovely. And so in terms of she was wonderful. But then Benedict, who was my co-star, he and I are still wonderful friends. And we catch up whenever we can, and we had such a great time on set, and us having that experience together. And then growing up, getting to do events like these, I would say he probably comes in a good second.
Fair, it's a good way of ranking it, to be fair.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you very much. You too.
Oh, thank you. I'm joined by Han, who we're here at Megacon. Tell everyone who you're cosplaying today. You're playing Jinx.
Yeah, so I'm cosplaying as Jinx, but I went with the short-haired version because it's a lot more comfortable than having two braids.
Yeah, I was about to say the braids. I feel like will take forever. I've got to ask you, Arcane, what did you think of the series when it first dropped?
I absolutely loved it. Like, it's one of my favourite shows. Just the animation, the music, the style. Like, the last episode came about and my jaw hit the floor. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, they can't leave it there, sort of thing.
Was you aware of League of Legends? Because I think a lot of people open their eyes to that whole world a little bit.
So I had heard of it. It was just something that was in the air. It wasn't well known. And then the reason I watched our game was because Jinx kept popping up all over my For You page. I'm like, oh, I've got to watch this now, haven't I?
What did you make of the Jinx sort of story arc?
It was very inventive, very creative, and it showed a lot about the character and a lot of in-depth story about her. And it shows you how she became, Jinx, basically.
And I absolutely love it. I can't wait for the next series, to be fair. I hope they do another one anyway. We're here at Megacon. Is this your first time at Megacon, or did you go to the event in Birmingham?
So this is my second time, yes. The first time I went, I was with my auntie and uncle, and we were all Vikings, so...
Okay, fair enough. So what other sort of cosplays do you do? You mentioned Vikings there.
So I've only done a few because I'm quite new to it. So I've done Chuya Nakahara, what's his name, Todoroki from My Hero Academia, and then a Viking and Jinx, and that's it so far.
What got you into cosplay?
Anime,
straight. Fair enough.
Answer anime.
What is it about what would you say about the culture? Because I feel like cosplay today, it's absolutely rammed. I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger, maybe since COVID. Do you feel like that as a fellow cosplayer?
Yeah. I mean, I've only been to a couple of cons, but do you know what? The atmosphere is absolutely brilliant because the cons are amazing because it's just a bunch of nerds all coming together and showcasing their love for TVs, films, games, and it's absolutely brilliant. And you can always see how much people love it by the work they put into the costumes.
So, as I said, we're at Megacon. What have you made of the event? And if there's anything you would like to say to people here, or the listeners and the event organisers, what would that be?
That everyone looks amazing. It's a well-planned event, and it's absolutely incredible. And I'm so happy to be here.
And if people want to follow you on socials, and also your friend, I don't know where you've gone. Socials, can you just give them a little plug?
It's Hanpan Cos, and my profile picture is a bunch of makeup looks that I did over the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your friends?
Maddox, what's your Instagram?
Cow on Wheels cosplay.
Yeah, Cow on Wheels cos.
Thanks for speaking to us.
Thank you.